Ladies and gentlemen, he's the president of WorkPlan Retire and one of the co-founders of Hero 7, Brett Shofner.
Just as they get 10s out there in the internet for a long time, it's going downhill, no? Yes?
That was pretty
All right, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We're definitely going to play
housekeeping right now.
We're just going to play Chat Bar Champion. So out there, go for it. Last week's winner was Danielle Moisesef, so there'll be a winner this week.
Again.
Here in the room, we'll have the champion of the audience. So you'll play along. How does it work? What are the rules? There are none.
I don't know.
Somehow by the end of the show, we're going to vote for 4 of you or some of you, and some will win the cash and prizes. We'll see how that goes. We're going to play Acrosyn. So if you say an initialism or an acronym, you must drink from your penalty drink. What's the penalty drink, Mark?
It's Voldemort. Malort, which I guess it's a liquor that has something to do with worms and things and stomach bacteria and it kills. I don't know. It's people either like it or hate it, and I'm assuming we're all going to love it because we're professionals, people. Okay, so that's our penalty drink.
You have an iron stomach. That's why you.
That's not true at all. Not at all. But who cares about that? Because that's just if you say an acronym. But beer of the episode, since we always forget about that. Chad, who's lost in the streets of Chicago, I believe. That's the last place we saw him.
Lost him last night.
Typically intros the beer, says something about it, reads from the can. This is beer. It's in a can. We're going to drink it.
Okay, great. It's moving along. The show's getting better as we go. Perfect. We're going to jump right into topic number 1.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers,
We're here.
man.
Tell me how you like it.
Beer. Tastes like beer.
Yeah, good. I like that
Good.
assessment. Let's talk about Two-Plan Tony and or Tanya. I've heard that reference recently. I was in Scottsdale. A lot of big shot advisors, specialists, I would call them. And I heard some kind of grumblings around about these Two-Plan Tonys and how they had them in their sights and they were potentially going to come down market and win some business from them because they were failing. You couple that with Brian Graff at the ARA, American Retirement Association, fill it out for me. Coming out and talking about the Build Back Better deal and the retirement plan legislation in that, and having a federal mandate. I'll get this in a second. Let me finish my thought.
I just gave you
a federal mandate on retirement plans. And I think the stats that he gave from a study, there would be 625,000 new retirement plans, some $7 trillion in assets over 10 years. Mind you, these companies are going to average like 15 employees. So this is this big time opportunity. So my question to you, Brett, is who stands to benefit from this big time opportunity, the specialists or the Two-Plan Tonys? And if the specialists do they even want to crack at this small stuff? Like why?
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, that's just an awesome question. It's kind of the question of the day, because we've talked about it at this conference, right? It literally boils down to helping people. So whether that's going to be the institutional firm that's historically not been in that space. I mean, we had a session where someone joined Cap Trust and he was talking about, how his clients were asking for this and he wasn't able to provide it. That is the future, because very simply, companies spend a ton of money on their people. There's no way around that. I mean, that is a fact. It's about 80% salary and benefits. So we can make fun of Two-Plan Tony or Two-Plan whatever Tanya all day long, but in some ways they're actually better.
Can we stop making fun of them though?
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's too easy.
Mean. Like, we talk about bullying all the time. You should stop.
Hey,
Wow.
I think there's some relevance there because
yeah.
if it's not all negative, I think how people look at it is they say the Two-Plan Tony is falling asleep at the wheel, right? They sold the plan. This is the consensus.
That's true.
And therefore they're not doing any real great services. And so I think the specialist says, whether they're a national firm or just a really great advisor in some geography, some geographical region, says, hey, I could create something that would be better than Two-Plan Tony. Mind you, it's probably gonna be a lot more watered down than what they deliver to their $25 million client or their $100 million client.
Right.
And so what I wanna ask everyone up here today is like, is that good? It sounds like a watered down solution might be better than what Two-Plan Tony does, but is that really where we wanna take this industry is watered down solutions for these smaller companies, and is that in their best interest?
Okay, so I got this. So I'm going to throw it right back at you. Who is going to be better at changing? The institutional consultant? Can they learn to have empathy, listen, and help people make better decisions? Or can two-plan Tony or Tanya just, use technology maybe on some governance issues?
Or we could coach them up a little
That's
bit.
what I mean, coach them within the guardrails. Is it easier to solve that? Or maybe the specialist, the institutional firm hires two-plan Tanya. We need more women in this business, by the way.
Yep.
Right? So I think it's some combination there, but they have to change. And the solution, both of those narratives are not going to do it on their own. There's some combination of the two.
Both of them, I think, are doing it wrong. The current two-plan Tony, and then what I envision to be the specialist coming down market, I personally don't think either one of them is the right solution. My concern is that in our short-term greed, or maybe it's not greed, maybe it's short-term business opportunity, all the stuff that Graf talks about, the specialist will build something to make money, but then as an industry, we won't really solve problems down there. Like it'll be just a little bit better than the two-plan Tony, because let's be honest, if you service 50, $100 million plans or whatever it is, you're not gonna have the time to go down there on this plan that generates $2,500 or $3,000 for your company. So you don't have time to do that. So you've got to build some type of efficiency.
Well, or adapt, change what you're doing, go to that same company, literally 26-person company, and say, hey, there's data out there telling us that you've got some issues around wellness. Let me set up a program for you. Let's do an HSA. Let's do a college savings sorry.
Oh, an IO one,
Jeez.
sorry.
College savings program.
You had not had.
Let's
first
work
time
with your
ever.
key executives, right? Let's engage with your employees. Now you're making money different ways.
Yeah, that sucks.
Have you had this before?
That's my first
I thought I
ever
could get away with
alert.
that, but that didn't work.
Oh, and it stays in your mouth like mouthwash or
I
something.
mean, I guess I could say you don't have to as the guest, but if you don't,
Here,
I'd be very disappointed.
we can move on a little bit from this, but I really do want everyone to
It's just a
think
sip.
about this. We live and breathe in the micro space, right? As a third-party administrator, I mean, my father started the company in 1975. That's all we do, startups, $200,000 takeovers,
Thanks, bud.
$1 million takeovers. And believe it or not, and I'm sure this won't come as a shock to a lot of you, but there are some great advisors in the micro space that charge 50 basis points on a $500,000 takeover
Or less.
and still run fiduciary review meetings and still get in there. And I'm with you, the wellness, the planning could be ways to make more revenue. And I think that's a great idea, great concept. But I would like to see the two-plan Tonys get coached up and be more like these good advisors in that space. And then let's take the good advisor from making $2,500 to making $5,000 or $6,000 so they can provide even better services. I think that's a better solution. And then maybe even the bigger firms can come down market, and instead of making $2,500 and trying to sell other shit, they could, I'm not supposed to cuss at this one, sorry.
Shame on you.
That's hard for me. They can make a little more money and maybe make something more efficient. My concern is these people need help in 401k, and we're not going to be able to help them. We're going to abandon them if we try to solve it with tech, and we're surely going to abandon them if our only way of making revenue off them is other stuff. Let's focus on the 401k. Let's show them that it's important. Let's show them that it's valuable, and let's get our fees up in that
to that
space.
point too, some of the accountability has to be on their shoulders as well, right? We talk about all the time that typically they come in and then they never see them again, right? So it's also on them to step up.
But I think if we do what JD's talking about, right, take that from 2,500 to $5,000, that now becomes a more attractive thing for them to want to do, right? They're getting paid for it. It's not just, hey, $250 over the next, till the plan's $1 million.
A lot of these people
Garbage.
laugh at $5,000 per client.
Right.
These people are trying to make $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 per client.
But that client's also not super attractive to them either, right? And we have to help fix that gap, bridge that gap. And
That's
we
my
need
original-
more, I think, advisors coming up through the ranks, the two-plan Tonys, Tanyas, to get better at what they do.
Well, JD, so here's the question. If Graf is right, and he pretty much
Always
he's always right. What he's, well,
He's freaking
yeah, but all jokes aside,
He's correct on
if
that
he's right though, that all these plans are gonna, 60 million people. Okay, think about that. 60 million. Think of organizations like Edward Jones. what are they good at? They're good at helping people in the
Raymond
small.
James,
Yeah,
Edward
Raymond
Jones.
James. I mean, these organizations could instantly actually provide a lot of value and crush it. So I think those kinds of things are right there for the taking, you know, if that goes through, which it sounds.
We'll wrap with this, but call me a dreamer. I just don't even want, I don't want the Edward Jones, thank you. I don't want the Edward Jones guy or girl coming in and selling planning to their 401k plan, but not doing a proper semi-annual review, not walking them through new regs, not understanding the importance or communicating the importance of the education to the participants. And I'm worried about that right now. And what worries me about that is we have a bad reputation now. Even though 401k advisors, I think, are far different than typical Wall Street, a lot of people still look at us that way. And if we start to come at these people with like, you don't have to do anything, cheap, low-cost solutions, we're kind of going to set us up for a disaster, our own reputation in 5 years, 10 years. You know, these guys suck. They don't do anything when it comes to 401k. Yeah. It's all a bunch of smoke and mirrors. And then they're selling us other stuff. Maybe not a good look, and we need to be careful about it. I'm not saying we can find a way, but be careful. Everyone seems to be just jumping into this with these solutions instead of stopping and measuring and thinking about the midterm and the long term. Crazy?
No, you're 100% right. Devil's in the details, but here's the bottom line. The employees, when you survey them, they want help, and this is notable, they want help through the workplace.
Right.
And all the COVID stuff, as awful as it has been for everyone, it's created an opportunity where the employer's protective, almost like creating a stable environment for people, for their employees. So there's that opportunity to connect. They need awesome advisors, whatever their name is, to step in and bridge that gap. So that opportunity is there. And I mean, look, there's people here, Josh, wherever he is. I mean, this guy's so fired up, he's ready to run through that wall. There are people like that out there. I know, yeah, it wouldn't end well. But, you know, there are people that will step up if they just have the right technology. And again, the company just has to understand why they're in there. Because I'm with you. If you have a small company, the last thing you want is some dude slinging products, annuities, or whatever at your people. But if they're in there driving engagement, and you're not, you know, having turnover and your employees stay and they love working there, like that's a win. That's an ROI to the business.
Boom.
I really don't like that.
Mark, you don't have to
not cool.
take a drink.
Mark,
Yeah.
when he says these studies, I close my eyes and imagine all these studies happening in like the mega,
I've never studied before.
the mega market. Do you think the 10 employees at Joe's Auto Shop want to be given these financial services through their plan? I'm not saying you have to say no, because I think it could be true.
Do I think they want it?
Are they the same that these
I
studies?
want to be optimistic and say, yeah, they do want it, but I don't think that the 10 people at Joe's Auto Body Shop care.
Graph's 625,000 plans, averaging 15 people. Do they want this help in these plans through their employer?
Absolutely.
I think they do.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know. I hope so. I'm a little
Think so.
concerned about it. A little concerned about it. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, let's break it up a little fun, and we'll come back to a subject that kind of ties in. Brandon, let's spin the wheel of ice and so.
The wheel of ice, the wheel of ice.
Sorry, bud.
You're the Smirnoff. There's no second.
Oh, there's no.
There's no makers up here. No Boilermaker. We thought it's too complicated. Okay. We started something new a few weeks ago. We created a phone number, 1-833-ROBE guy. You can call in, leave a
Not
message.
my cell phone number, don't worry.
Leave a message after the beep, and we like to check in with a few of those. Hear from our audience. Oh, good job.
Well done.
It's like, what are they clapping for? Oh, you finished the Smirnoff. So, Brandon, you play us a few that have come in.
It's not all about you, JD.
I prefer to remain anonymous caller, but I have a question for Retireholics. Do you like EvoShare? You should like EvoShare. If you do not like EvoShare, then I don't know if retirement is good for you.
Okay.
That is all.
Okay.
Spasiba.
That's a free ad for EvoShare.
Yeah.
I feel like I recognize
The
it.
Russian guy came back.
Yeah, hi. Messages for Mr. Carlson. Your test results for your rash have come in. We really
good,
think you should
I
give
like
us a
that
call
stuff.
back to discuss this. You can call us at 555-555-5555. It's
Great
very
Greenfield, that's you, I know it.
that you give us a call. Thank
Getting
you,
the idea.
and have a
That's
great
great
day.
ideas.
Hey, Road Guy, on JD's post, you put something that says TOTR. What do you mean? Please enlighten me.
You don't know, now you know. Oh, if you don't know what TOTR stands for, sorry, TOTR. That's two. Wow. You set me up, dude. Anyways, it stands for the other two Retireholics, because on this show, Justin and I represent that, because we've always seen ourselves as, you know, the JD and Chad, they're doing their thing. They're the Retireholics, and then we're just the other two guys. And so we sort of branded ourselves.
Well, it really started when we noticed all of our photos were going up when we started this whole thing. And Mark and I were always cropped out of the photos. Always Chad and JD. Or, like there'd be half of our bodies.
Not
like,
tagged in it.
Or people
not
tag
tagged
on
in
it on LinkedIn.
Cynthia
like, Chad, JD,
on her post
Retireholics.
last week. But yeah, that's kind of, we're like, oh, we're just the other two Retireholics.
All right, we got one more, and I know what this one is, but it'll lead to discussions.
This is Suzanne Nissick from NPPG. I am answering the call to discuss PEPs. I've posted a video on LinkedIn explaining why PEPs are good. The individual clients don't need to file a 5500 form anymore, and they are allowed to focus on employee engagement versus administration.
Okay, Suzanne. Sorry about the blah, blah, blah. We were having a little fun. Suzanne's actually a friend of the
First
show.
off, no, she's not a friend. She's a sponsor of the robe, so I'm sitting this conversation out.
And we appreciate you putting this together. In her comments there, she made two, right? She said the 5,500 and then outsourcing your administration, your compliance work. And I think those are two bullet points that most pooled employer plan providers would that would be high up on their list. So, and so let's tackle a few together. And I'd like to do this two ways. First, let's tackle some of these areas, and then second, let's look at it from the advisor's perspective, because it could be a good thing for them to implement into their practice. 5,500s, you don't have to do your 5,500. That's not a thing unique to pooled employer plans. You could have done that long before pooled employer plans existed. You also outsourcing your compliance work and your fiduciary responsibility, we call that a 316. You also could have done that long before pooled employer plans are in place. Gets under my skin a little bit when someone goes around waving the flag for pooled employer plans. I so want to say the acronym. And claiming that somehow these are unique to them. Like, oh, there's this new thing out and it does these things for you. I'm saying, that's not unique to you.
Maybe it's because it's like an automatic thing versus an optional thing.
Fair enough.
I get maybe that's where they should start taking that
The way
argument
it's
a little
built.
bit. This is like you get a cheeseburger, it's got the cheese on it. You don't have to add it like at a fancy restaurant, you know?
Sure, fair, great defense of that.
I'm not defending it,
No, it's same
but I
thing
am
exists.
sponsored by it. So there's that too.
The next big bullet point you hear is low cost. And when I first heard about pooled employer plans, I thought this sounded really, really attractive, this concept of we could take 100 small plans south of $1 million. We could pool them all together.
That's 52 Tonys and Tanyas.
And we could get, $200 million pricing, $500 million pricing, $1 billion pricing. I was like, wow, that sounds really, really interesting. As I've seen the market play out and looked at some of these proposals, I'm not so certain that that's the truth. And now you're even seeing the industry back up. In the very beginning, if you remember, they were all waving the flag about low cost. And now they're like, oh, it's not about low cost. It's not about low cost. And the reason why that is, if you think about it as a record keeper, having 100 small plans in one pooled employer plan, and how does your job change from having 100 individual plans? This is where I cuss in a normal one. Doesn't change. Doesn't change. Your job's the same. It's 100 HR people.
There you go.
Shoot. It's 100 clients. It's really not any different. And so when you see cost savings, drill in a little deeper to find out where they are, because I don't think they're in the record keeping, and I surely don't think they're in the fiduciary services of the 338 and the 316, because those are premium services. Those are add-ons to the micro market. They're usually in the advisor side. And so we'll talk why that maybe is a good thing, or a bad thing depending upon your model. But please don't say that pooled employer plans are low cost. Please don't say that you can outsource your administrative responsibilities, unlike something, because it's not true. You can do that somewhere else. And then the last one, and this one really pisses me off, audit. You get a reduced audit cost, right? You pull everyone together, and instead of paying one $15,000 audit, you could spread it across a bunch of people. Why did we put these in place in the first place? Why did the government put this legislation through? What was the number one reason? To solve the gap, right? The coverage gap. This was supposed to be for companies that couldn't afford a 401k plan. The startups, the small auto body shop, they don't have a freaking audit. They never had an audit. So wait a second, here's my bigger problem. All these pooled employer plans are not focusing on the problem that they were instilled to do. They're trying to win takeover business. You're trying to turn it into a shiny little mousetrap to win new business and put all these bullet points about why it's so different and why it's so cool, even when those things exist in the first place. It's pissing me off.
Hey, can you
this
get off
guy's
your-
super upset about that.
Can you get your soapbox and
Yeah.
step off and maybe let our guests have
Yeah.
comments to
So,
that?
Brett, given all that, there's got to be some upside potential for firms. I mean, I don't know if you feel this way, but where does a pooled employer plan fit? Where could it be effective?
Look, I want to argue with him, but he's made some good points.
Yeah.
But here's the bottom line. The intention might have been bad, or who knows why they want to do it and take over, like that's relevant and probably accurate. But as an advisor, we're back to anything I can do to remove complexity so that I can add value. I mean, we talk about this red ocean, blue ocean thing. Todd Kading, Retireholics, friend of the family here. You know, what he's doing is awesome. Like, you know, the mundane,
He's not playing tic-tac-toe
you don't
right
want
now.
advisors doing that, right? Advisors should be spending their time on the most meaningful activities, which we were talking about earlier, the stuff that matters. So if a PEP
Finish your thought. Save it up.
yeah, all right. I know. If a pooled employer plan can do that and make it easier so that we can get to the things that matter, that, you know, the true substance of what we can deliver to these companies, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you have to look at it. Like, is it perfect? Is it some special magic pill? Absolutely not. You know, is it overblown? Yes. Are people making more of a deal out of it than they should? Yes, they are. But it does reduce some friction and complexity, even if it's on the margin. And that'll help us get to the stuff that matters.
Good point. That's a valid point. Let's be clear.
That's true too, yeah.
Let's be clear. They're not all the same.
Yeah.
And this is relevant to this certain subject because believe it or not, as anti-pooled employer plan as I can be, I do think there's a space for it. Whether it's short-term business opportunity and whether it's in the best interest of the industry, I struggle with. However, if I'm a national advisor shop and I've always focused on the 25 million plus, 50 million plus, and I've never done the $1 million plan, the $2 million plan, the startup, the whatever, because I can't make enough money. Okay, maybe this is your opportunity to build something to get into that smaller market and create some revenue. We talked about this earlier.
Just take it away from Tony.
Take it away. Maybe it's going to be more simply built. Maybe it's going to be efficient. Maybe you'll never even set foot at that employer's actual office.
One other thought. So the big G in the room, right? The government. We don't want them coming in this space. Okay, but now how would they try to solve this problem? I'm pretty sure it would be around low fees, right? Absolutely. So here's the thing. The pooled employer plans, maybe this is a little bit of a one step. Like we're one step ahead. And
They're
we
a
just,
transition to better plans.
well, it just keeps like take that move away from them so that they can't come in and, with the low cost maneuver, because this will drive fees down. Because the plans will be simple. There's less admin, blah, blah, blah. They will be cheaper. And
If
that's
it was
fine.
a government run.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want the government. I mean, pretty much whenever they're involved, bad things happen.
It's kind of interesting you say that because we're from California. And
That's not obvious.
can I say the plan's name? the state-run
Yeah.
plan, I think I can
say it.
say
Yeah,
CalSavers
you can
is
say it.
not an active
CalSavers plan is for some of you that are out of that state, it's been mandated on kind of this calendar. And into next year, it'll be mandated for employers with 5 or more employees. So
Right.
if you have 5 or more employees, the state, California, is saying you must have a retirement in place. If it's a 401k plan, great, you check the box.
You have a pocket
It could be,
I do.
Dude, wow.
I can't say those. It could be other individual retirement account options as well. Any type of retirement plan.
That takes effect in Illinois in 2023 as well.
Yeah, there's several states, although maybe Illinois is one that's going to have a mandate. I know a lot of them didn't go as far as the mandate that California has. We love it as third-party administrators.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a phenomenal marketing opportunity to run around everywhere in that micro space and say, hey, the government's got a gun to your head. They're going to force you to do a plan. Why don't we create something that's better for you, that's kind of more customized? And so it's really been a boom for retirement plan in California. So when Graf talks about the federally mandated, I think, wow, this is going to be, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
But I understand your points about simplicity and the low cost, but
Yeah.
I think it's still
Don't
an
oversell
opportunity.
it. It basically just don't oversell it. Just use it for what it is and get to the things that are more important.
JD, I also think it's from the standpoint of these small employers, they gotta run their business. They gotta grow their revenues and their profitability to stay in business. That's where America grows, is from small business. And so they don't know how to run one of these plans. And what the government did was put this in the hands of the firms that know how to run this, that have the experience. So that's another piece of this. It's not just coverage, but now the pooled plan providers, they now are the ones that know this business, know how to run this business, and they're experts at it.
Well, to your original point, there are going to be some good ones.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. There's going to be some ones that see the problem, build it properly. It's the right pooled plan provider. I'm going to say P3 just because I think it's cool, but I'll have to drink for that.
Doesn't really count.
No?
I think you're safe.
Let it
And then they've got the right advisor firm. They've vetted out their record keeper, and they've really got the best interest of those employers in that pooled employer plan. Of course, those are going to exist. But there's a lot, Michael, that are out there that are literally seeing this as a return to proprietary investments, behind closed door deals, ways to make more money through other tricks and smokes and mirrors. And to me, and I've said this before, so I apologize, but we were on such a great path as an industry. We had left behind the revenue share loaded up share classes, and we had moved to institutional share class of fund. We had moved to
That's
real
the other
transparency.
thing that came up about the pooled employer plans.
Get access to
Right,
yeah.
which is not true.
My point is like, we were really heading towards this like feel good, transparent, where the consumer and the general public could look at us and go, oh, this is a squeaky clean industry, unlike it was 15 years ago. Where I feel like pooled employer plans is circling us back to now where it's like, oh, we got to pop open the hood and find out who's making money where and how and what relationships are there. I know I've been a broken record on this. I'm just concerned about what this means for the long haul for our industry. We can't get too caught up on making some money here over the next 2 years without thinking about our reputation forever.
What also concerns me about it is the amount of participants that are going to be in these plans and the, I would say, inability of, once you have hundreds of plans in these things, the inability of the advisor to actually focus on those participants as well. They're not going to be spending a ton of time with them, like, you know, if you have just a single advisor going after a single plan and focusing on that company specifically.
It would be watered down.
Disagree?
Because the advisor has one fund line that's going across all the plans. They have less time
Totally.
focusing on those quarterly investment monitoring reports. It's a different report for every employer. And so it's actually going to free up that advisor to work more with those individuals.
And so as someone who agree with you, but I also worry about that, is because I live in that space. I'm very, very concerned with us creating plug and play solutions for the micro market. And I'm very worried about, we were talking about pooled employer plans to start this. I think it's super wrong to run around and say, 401k bad, 401k hard for you, pooled employer easy, pooled employer plan, nothing for you to do. As someone who has hundreds of clients that are small businesses, if you start to teach them that there's nothing for them to do and that this is a piece of cake, you're heading in the wrong direction. And I think even CalSavers is going to fall apart. We're going to see a real mess with CalSavers at some point where they're not putting in people that are eligible. These are individual retirement accounts. So if you breach the comp levels, you're not allowed to put into them, but no one's tracking that shit.
We should probably move on.
Yes.
Just
Okay.
saying.
Let's move on.
Thank you, for that pep talk.
The reason you want to move on is we're just going to go straight to lamer game.
Oh, let's try to do that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I get an intro for that game or no? Refer to my notes, so I don't remember what my questions were.
A lot of beers in those
Yeah, right. Oh, okay. So for those of you who don't know this game, it's very simple. I'm going to ask a series of questions to the crew up here, and please participate out there in the audience as well. If you think that Tracy's yawning. Hi, Tracy. If you think it's lame or if you're game. Okay, pretty simple. First question, bars of soap.
Lame.
And I'm just going to add a little context to that. Why do they exist still? There's so many variations of squeezable, foamable soaps.
Always first to shop, right?
No, I know. I'm just looking at you to prove a point because I don't think you use soap.
It's lame. Enough said.
Shock. Yeah. Lame. Okay. JD. Justin.
Well, that is, yeah, that works.
Voldemort trying to pull a trick.
What's the question? I was talking to the.
Oh, you can't get the film off your finger.
You know,
they slide around. There's all
it's
we
lame.
can go on.
I mean, like, it's even in
terrible.
even in prison they shouldn't have that. So
The problem with soap, the only soap in a dish that I'm down with is the one in the hotel that I rip open and I use the first time.
okay, so this is kind of where this comes from. Now I know we're in the times of the pandemic or whatever still. So like you're in someone else's room. Like JD's got this massive penthouse suite, so we go there to hang out and drink beer. And I go to the restroom and I see a bar of soap that's been used. I'm like, where's the squishy, foamy one?
Agreed.
So I do the rinse and flick. Anyways,
Yes.
thank you. Next question, greeting cards. You look like a greeting card kind of guy. I don't know why.
Cards. Hey, yeah, I'm good with that. I'm game. Yeah, greeting cards are cool.
All right,
You know?
giving them or accepting them from others?
Oh, I mean, in my family, it's a big deal. My wife loves getting them.
Okay.
Cool. Like Christmas time when people do all the pictures.
Do you do the pick out the perfect card and just sign your name, or do you actually write
That's
something?
lame. That's lame.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
no,
There's a lot of
that-
layers to cards. See, they're just
Yeah.
too complex.
Justin?
Game. Great way to communicate your feelings, expressions.
That someone
especially if
else
you're
wrote
quiet,
for you. Congrats.
You're the vessel.
Do you buy the blank ones and then write in them
No.
at the dollar store?
No.
Okay, no. All right.
You know what I do. I get them and I open them up, see if there's any cash in there, and then I'm done.
Well, I think this came of a conversation, but I think I get a card and I do you kind of scan it, but I don't actually read it ever. I don't ever, if you say, give me a card, I don't actually read it.
There's only one problem with that. Because like in our family, we do try to go big with the greeting cards. And so you establish the standard and then you surpass it and you surpass it. And then you're like, oh shit.
Why don't you just make the greeting cards if you're that good at it?
not enough
Finding
time in the
them,
day.
Yeah.
But they're cool. I'm game.
And they're expensive, by the way.
Hold on.
Okay, soap.
Chad would like to
cards.
respond here too.
No.
He says waste of money.
All right, Chad, you're all right.
Heartless.
Where are you,
proud.
man? Are you in Chicago? All right, brushing your teeth.
Game.
With brushing your teeth right after you wake up. First thing you do, you get up, brush your teeth.
Yeah, we got to go game there. Even if you're thinking lame, you lie. And you go game.
I don't partake in the lame part of this. I've heard rumblings of things lately. Justin?
I prefer to wait after breakfast.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Why am I hearing more and more people say that?
keep 'em
That's
off the couch.
disgusting. You wake up and literally the only thing you should do is brush your teeth.
I brushed my teeth when I went to bed. I didn't eat anything. I'm going to eat breakfast, then I'm going to brush
So
my
if
teeth.
you got up
Get all
and
that
you
shit
were
off my
laying
face.
next to somebody, let's just say, and you just breathe in their face, you don't think that person's gonna be like, oh, that's great.
Yes,
Go
I
eat
get
some
it.
breakfast.
You're married. I'm not, right? Yeah. It doesn't happen to me every
Doesn't
day.
matter, married or not. JD.
Game.
Right.
I think we should explore more who's waking up.
No, we need
right
to
after
move
Get
on.
out of bed.
Yeah, true.
That's the more interesting part.
Well, when
I'm game on that.
When
Let's
you
find
wake,
out
when
who's
you
the last
wake up at
person.
noon, I wouldn't brush my teeth
Not
either.
someone in my
I'd be
bed every morning,
panicking.
Mark. All right?
Just waffle. It goes back and forth sometimes.
Pandora's box there.
Sometimes I'll have surfed, had lunch, and then, shit, I don't think I brushed my teeth.
I don't know. Anyways, you know what they say.
What they say. One more fun before we drop into our last topic. And this all comes from Brett. He said, I got a Michael Jordan story, and it obviously
He's
has
got a
to do
lot
with
of
Chicago.
stories. Yeah, I'd rather hear the
and
Marcus Allen
I
story.
want to tell it. So
We're
this
not
is your
telling Marcus
spot for the
Allen.
Jordan story.
All right, so the Michael Jordan story is a good one because Michael Jordan, and this is just my opinion, but I think he's the greatest athlete of our lifetime. And this is his town, okay? And this is Retireholics, which centers around a lot of alcohol, some of which is great, some of which is freaking awful.
Do you think Michael Jordan likes Voldemort?
I think he's going a little higher end. But my Michael Jordan story is, I did grow up in California, a small town. I was lucky enough to be picked to go to this camp, right? And so the best player out of my area was a guy named Rod Higgins. And Rod Higgins happened to be on the Chicago Bulls, and his roommate was Michael Jordan. So I go to this camp with all these players, and it's up in the mountains above Fresno. No one's around, no press.
How tall are you?
A little shade under 6'3", not tall enough.
In Fresno,
But-
like Fresno, California?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'm at this camp, and in the middle of the week, Michael Jordan just walks in our gym, and that alone was unbelievable. And I think I was like a 14-year-old kid, so that was memorable in and of itself. That is great, and I got to know Michael, and I played with him, learned all these things, blah blah blah. But what was interesting was when I came back the next year, the camp was a little bigger, and Higgins loved playing tennis with me. And so I would basically whip his ass every day, and he loved it. He's just like, you're a little fireball killing me in tennis. And so he kind of took me under his wing. So he comes up.
This is a basketball camp, though.
Yeah, I know. But he comes up and he goes, we're going to go on an errand. Do you want to come? And now I'm 15 years old. So I jump in an RV.
You said the story was like.
Boom.
I know, make it quick.
Recreational
Okay,
vehicle.
I jump in an RV.
Twice. Save him up. Save him up.
Don't worry, Brett. I'll do it for you.
Inside the vehicle were Mitch Richmond, Michael Jordan,
I know him.
some other NBA players, and they
You
were
don't know their
going.
names?
They were going on a beer run. Okay.
I got you, buddy.
So I'm this 15-year-old kid. I've never seen alcohol. They're going on a beer run.
You're a liar.
No, that's serious.
You've
And so
seen it before.
Michael Jordan handed me a Bartles and James. I'm dating myself.
Good job.
And said, son, here you go, buddy. And I drank half of it and was bombed out of my mind because I weighed like
How
130.
old were you?
literally
15.
I'm not buying the
you
no
just
So the
told
cocaine.
first time I
world.
had alcohol was with Michael Jordan. That's 100% true story.
You just literally told the world that Michael Jordan forgives underage children alcohol. Do you know how many viewers we have out
I know,
there?
I should have thought of that. So touche, that is 100% true story.
Brandon's always, our producer is always trying to teach me. He goes, JD, like, you have a point to say, and then you take 3 minutes to say the point. You just say Michael Jordan gave you a wine cooler when you were a kid.
All right.
That's the.
Yeah, all right. I'm trying to build it up.
But hold on, JD, a comment like that is going to lead to follow-up questions. It's going to take just as long. So
And
I'd rather hear stories.
that's a good little shout out. Rest in peace to Norm Macdonald. Like that's how he told his
Yeah,
jokes.
true.
You know,
That was
Yeah,
a
like,
comedy.
thank you.
right?
Thank you. Yeah,
see?
come on.
That was. a
I like
comedy.
stories,
Sure you do.
except the ones you tell.
Well, let's give him another chance. Brad, you sent an email to me, and I loved this statement. You said, the best companies in the world are obsessed with solving their customers' problems. And I'm thinking outside 401k. I'm thinking all kinds, tech, service, hotels, hospitality, whatever. And that's a very true statement.
Like Apple solving your broken phone problem
Yes.
and by making a new one because we're making your old one obsolete.
Sort of. And you said, are we doing that as a 401k industry, or are we just trying to solve our own issues? Can you expand on that a little bit, and then we'll chat it
Well,
up?
I'm going to follow your philosophy. No.
You done?
No, I'm done.
Let's go.
Good. Just
Yeah.
drop the mic and log
Yeah,
off.
touche, right?
Yeah.
No, but it's true. Like our industry, I mean, I think we suffer from that. We worry about our own issues, and that gets into the pooled employer plans and other things that we get into.
Don't go back there.
I'm sorry, but like if we just stay focused, like I said in that email, on solving your customers' needs, that's all we need to worry about. Because if we solve, for these employers and employees, which let's face it, this is like a super huge important issue for, like where I grew up. Look, people didn't go to college, like people weren't educated. That's a lot of America, and that was in California, which you wouldn't even think that would exist in California. And so this is an awesome opportunity, and it's actually not that complicated. Solve their problems, figure out how to do it, and the rest falls in place. That's what I think.
We started to talk about this over a beer and trying to figure out, like,
Shocking.
well, what have we not innovated? What have we not done? Or how would we solve this problem? And it was funny because it got really simple. I feel like the conversation, like, okay, we need to do more for the participant, almost take them out of the equation is where our brain was going. And my brother was driving this conversation, and he's less of a day-to-day 401k guy. And I was kind of like, you're talking about default investment. You're talking about target dates or managed account service. You're talking about simplifying a core menu to like just a suite. These are all things that we've done as an industry for the last 10 years. So I feel like we've tried to do a lot of this stuff to make it simpler. But I also feel like we get in our own way because we think like, okay, how do I innovate? And I think of like Empower and Personal Capital. And when I watch the TV and I see an ad for Personal Capital and they show me like as an individual investor that I get all these cool graphs in this app that shows me like my rate of return and how I'm going to succeed in my retirement and how my investments are doing. And I think the regular Joe and Mary is like, I don't give a shit about that stuff.
Oh, dude, I know. No, newsflash. People that make under $150,000 a year, they don't give a rat's ass about any of that. They don't care. They want stability. They want a job to go have a beer at night, to watch their kid play soccer. That's what they care about. So our job, I think, is to, enable the employer to connect with those people so they stay, their business is profitable, and those people have better lives.
So what you guys are saying is that you make over 150,000.
Did not say that.
So I like what you're saying.
But yeah, but most people don't.
That adds up.
I'm focusing more on what's this cool, new, innovative thing. And instead what you're saying is, no. How can we help our employers by maybe not giving them like this cool 401k tech? How can we just make their workplace a better place for their employees so they keep retain, everyone's happy? Okay, I didn't think about it that holistically. But how do you even do that? I mean, you can create default investments, create automatic enrollment, you can create a wellness program.
Pensions.
I got it. How do relationships
backwards
work? How are all these people getting into his bed at night? What? We were talking about earlier, right?
Tinder.
It works for both sides.
Swiping right.
Tinder. 401k only. That's the site.
No, but a relationship works two ways. Employers have to offer people what they want and what they need. I mean, literally, this is not complicated. There's a ton of smart people. Am I wrong on this?
No.
You offer people what they want. Why do marriages work? Why do partnerships work?
They don't.
The benefits. You see
the statistics?
Statistically speaking. Not wrong.
But JD, we're overthinking it. I mean, really, as an industry, we're overthinking it. Look at the benefit stack. What did it look like 30 years ago? It looked the same. That makes no sense at all. It needs to be different. Like,
okay,
connect with these younger people, give them what they want, whatever the hell it is. If it's pet insurance, if it's childcare.
Okay. Whatever they want?
Well,
because it's not that.
Okay, here's my one big takeaway on this, and this ties to everything we've talked about today. Great, and I know you want to bring in wellness and planning and pet care and all these things, and I want to bring in this like really well-run 401k
Kegs
plan.
And beer and malort.
But there's one part that's broken in it, I feel like. And this, I feel like, was to my points earlier about pooled employer plans and micro plan, like efficiency things not working, is the one missing part is the company themselves. Human resources, the chief financial officer, the people that are there on the ground, we're trying to sell them things like, don't worry about it, not a big deal, low cost, doesn't take any effort. And for us to succeed to your little utopian you're talking about, we need them to be 100% in. I feel like, that's my opinion. And so our narrative needs to change away from this, all this other crap. And it needs to be like, okay, people at the company, human resources, payroll, chief executive officer, chief financial, let's get together. This is going to take some work. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves. You're going to have to promote this. You're going to have to push this. We're going to be here to get it done, but we need your buy-in. And I don't think that's a big initiative for our industry right now. I know we talk about it. I know it's in some articles and things, but we're not doing it as a bigger push.
Right. Well, you just made my point, though. We have to give them what they want and what they need.
I was trying to make your point. I wasn't trying to argue.
Right? No, but I
know you made a point.
I'm trying. But no, you're right. I mean, look, they will buy in, though, because they're strapped more than ever. Everyone knows that in our industry. You know, HR in particular is really interesting. Damn. because they don't have a seat at the table. Thank you. You're a Raider fan, so am I. They don't have a seat at the table.
Live on Instagram tonight at 10. So,
but like, listen, no one listens to HR. I mean,
better.
They get a diminished role, and they shouldn't. They're not in those important meetings. It's always the CFO, CEO.
Oh God, no, not doing it.
Just hand me the
Mark,
bottle.
you may as well just drink out of the bottle.
One of those scooch over.
Yeah, but I mean, the real point is they're closest to what you're talking about. The people, their issues. Why are people
totally
leaving?
agree. But I'm the same way.
We got to bring them into the conversation, to your point, and give them what they need to be more successful.
I'll go self-reflect. Where are we at these days? 27 employees? 20.
How do you not even know that? That's not even a high number.
Well, here's my point.
Okay.
As an employer,
You're disconnected.
I don't think I'm making a massive initiative and I work in this industry, your guys are employees of mine. You don't see like major things coming from me about 401k or wellness or these types of things. I pretty much leave you.
Yeah, where's our wellness program?
To your own.
Yeah.
Because I would totally use it.
About our 401.
You need a wellness program based on there's a guy in a robe next to me.
Right?
My point is,
Just saying.
There's a guy in a jean jacket.
Yeah, do they have sponsors that don't pay them?
My point is that I believe in this stuff, but I get busy running my own company. I don't do it. I need someone
You get busy surfing.
I need someone to sit me down and say, hey, look, it's time.
You're sitting.
It's time.
Hey, JD,
Take your chance right now.
It's time.
Go for it. Yeah.
Profit sharing. We need health, wellness, the whole 9 yards.
We need a
And
match.
people in there
Maybe a
want
safe
to
harbor
talk
match.
to you about your budgets and what you're doing. You guys are okay with that. And you'd love me for that and work for me forever because I provided you this.
I bet they would.
I'm just looking out for our 27 other employees.
I think they would too.
I
I think they would too, but I think it's going to take either someone convincing me, which I think would be the role of our industry, or me really, doing the heavy
Can you
lifting
just
and getting it done.
convince yourself at this point?
So I clearly haven't. So anyways, I think to close that, I do agree with you. I do think it's an opportunity. I don't think we're going to solve it with products and tech. I think we're going to solve it with a shift in what we're offering and what we're doing. And it's going to take a bit of courage to do that and stop running around trying to sell easy and low cost and instead sell solutions and evolution and a better world. Whatever. Okay. Oh.
Touche, man.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Can I get on the soapbox and just say, oh, yeah.
Go.
So I think, and I believe this to be true across a number of different industries and what have you, that you get people like yourselves who are dedicated to your craft and your industry behind closed doors. You listen to valuable speakers who are here to give value, educate, teach you new tools and things. But then we all go back to our desk and we all go back to our office, and what really happens? So I think it's a reflection, it's a mirror effect, right? We have to be accountable for, if we're gonna go have these nice, thank you to Cynthia and everyone else who've done this, and have this be done, and you guys go back and you're the thought leaders and you do put this into action, everyone else has to do the same thing. So I think it's a collaborative effort amongst everybody in the industry that if we can push one another, that it will have a bigger effect, right? It's not just me. I learned something, but I can pass that along. And also, if you learn something and you take it back and you put in action, great. But if you just come here, you get your steak dinner and go home, then shame.
With all your jokes and all your interruptions on purpose.
I know.
Whenever you dig deep in your heart, I just swell up with love for you. I mean, that was legit.
That was pretty legit.
We'll add an
bro.
extra
Straight
zero
legit.
on my check next
All right, we
week.
need to, I hope the chat bar's been rocking. We will choose a chat bar champion based on looking at the script. I don't know, when I get over my
I can
hangover.
already tell you who's going to win.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Who? I've been watching it.
Greg Greenfield.
He's at the top.
Yeah.
But
Who do you
we
think are
need
the
to
top
name-
three?
Greg.
We got plenty of time.
Three-piece. Come on.
He's been okay, but
What?
we got
Yeah.
Danielle, Greg, and Crystal have been rocking it.
Okay, so for you guys.
Okay, dark horse.
Okay, but we need to vote for a champion of the audience.
DeCenso.
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 Hands down.
Yeah.
But
Usually, by the
no.
way-
Winning this is not a good thing. This is basically like, who's the one we don't like in this audience? That guy.
No,
I'm joking.
He's not afraid of controversy.
I would say usually it's some type of humor.
You win.
Yeah, give him a shot of that. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, meet us afterwards. We'll hook you up with some.
Meet me
gear and stuff.
outside.
And by the way, can you guys all do me a favor?
Play it. There, play it. You got it.
Outside.
Take me outside. How about that?
Thanks. Do me a favor before I say goodbye. We had signed posters at the Scottsdale event, and when it was all over, we just saw them in trash cans, and Cynthia had like a bunch of them. We were at the airport, and they were in a trash can. So if you could grab the posters and any merch you can get your hands on out there, and then just if you're gonna throw it away, like wait till you get home.
Yeah.
Wait till you get home, then toss it away.
It actually, you could like use it as wrapping paper, maybe.
Wrapping paper,
Yeah.
bottom of your cat's litter box, something like
Yeah.
that.
Or get some tape and put it on some of the buildings here.
Thank you to Institutional Investor. Thank you to Cynthia. Thank you to Steve. Thank you to Gianna.
Yep.
But more importantly than that, thank you to Maria.
Yeah.
Maria's been awesome. She's been such a great help for us. We really appreciate that. Thanks to Eric and the boys in AV. You guys are awesome. And hopefully, Eric, we're not getting wasted tonight like we did in Scottsdale. That was rough. And
I went
thanks to
to
the
bed
audience.
early that night.
We really appreciate you guys sticking around to the end
Thanks.
of this thing and all the laughter and the interaction. You know, they can interact
Yeah.
even when you don't have your own mic.
Yeah.
And so thanks. We appreciate it. Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in.